everybody should have the right to demonstrate. And we saw in the news recently, last couple of days, Piers Corbyn, not Piers Morgan, Piers Corbyn this time, was given, as far as I know, an on-the-spot fine of £10,000 for organising an anti-vax, anti-COVID, 5G, whatever demonstration he was involved in. I think he's about as nutty as his brother. However, the fact that man was fined for organising a demonstration in central London, it was totally peaceful, they weren't inciting any violence whatsoever, as far as I know, nobody's arrested for public order offences, and on the very same day you had Black Lives Matter, a group that wants to defund the police, that basically wants to destroy our society, destroy our culture, was allowed to demonstrate in London without any of the leaders getting arrested. In fact, they've had scores of demonstrations since July, I think it was, and as far as I know, none of the organisers of their demonstrations have been arrested. So right there you've got a double standard, which is total hypocrisy. Now, I don't particularly know what Piers Corbyn believes. I don't care what Piers Corbyn believes. He's probably got some very, very valid points about the restrictions on freedom of speech and freedom of assembly and the destruction of the economy due to the lockdown. I don't agree with him that the virus doesn't exist. I don't agree that vaccinating against the virus is a bad idea. But some of his points are probably very, very valid. And obviously, we can be absolutely sure as eggs that Piers Corbyn is hard left, Marxist, communist, if he's anything like his brother. So of course we don't agree with him on that. However, we've got to defend the right of Piers Corbyn to demonstrate, to speak his mind, however wacko he is, however outside the box his thinking is. He has got to have the right to express those beliefs, because there will be some truth in some of what he believes. A lot of it will probably be complete nonsense, like David Icke stuff, but there will be some truth in the things that Piers Corbyn is campaigning for, and we need to hear that, and we need to have that discussion. So we're at a very, very dangerous place in the UK. Civil liberties have had a coach and horses driven through them because of this COVID panic-demic. It's not a pandemic, it's a panic-demic. And the panic-demic has given the little Hitlers that there are in police forces up and down the country all the justification they need to take away our rights, take away our freedoms. They've been doing it for years with the freedom of speech, with the so-called hate laws. And now they're doing it with another fundamental freedom, which is freedom of assembly. And of course, these are freedoms that, as much as we hate the United Nations, these are freedoms that are actually written into the United Nations Charter. Freedom of assembly, freedom to gather, freedom to hold political opinion, freedom to speak, freedom to think. All those things are givens, and all those things are being destroyed by very, very sinister elements in the media, in the government. Most of them are far left. A lot of people don't realise that our country is not about to be taken over by the far left. Our country was taken over by the far left a long, long time ago. And what the great and the good call the slow march through the institutions has been very, very successful. The long march through the institutions has been very successful in taking over the media, the BBC, the civil service, the education system, the police forces, probably the military as well. So what we need is a counter-revolution. We need to basically get these people who march very slowly through the institutions very quickly ejected from the institutions, but that's another story. What I want to talk about today is demonstrations, and why we must support everybody's right to demonstrate. Now, I do not like the Marxist agenda of the organisation calling itself Black Lives Matter. I don't like the exclusive agenda of Black Lives Matter where it says by default that Black Lives Matter more than anybody else's. All lives matter. I don't like the organisation called Black Lives Matter. However, I believe they have a right to demonstrate as long as they do it peacefully, as long as they do it within the law. I don't like patriotic alternative. I don't like the National Front. I don't like Nazis. But I believe they have a right for their ideas to be heard, ridiculed and mocked, and I believe they have a right to demonstrate if they do it peacefully, as long as they're not causing any violence or threatening violence, and they shouldn't be hindered by the forces of the state. However, I would not go on a march organised by the National Front or Patriotic Alternative, and that brings me up to my next point. I believe there is a march that's been organised by the National Front, I think in Dover. I could be wrong in this. I mean, I'm just going on information that I've been given, but I believe the National Front have organised a march in Dover about basically the invasion of our country across the English Channel over the summer. Now, I won't be going to any demonstration organised by groups like the National Front, Patriotic Alternative. We could list off a whole lot of others. I just won't go to them. But I think they have the right to do it, and they have the right to do it peacefully. But personally, I would never go to an event organised by the National Front. And I think as a veteran, and I think the vast majority of veterans that I know, by the way, I apologise for the wind and the noise in the background, the vast majority of veterans that I know would never have anything to do with the National Front, because the vast majority of veterans are not Nazis, they're not fascists, they're just people that love their country and are very, very patriotic. So I won't be going to an event organised by the National Front. I believe it's going to be on the 5th of September, which is this coming Saturday. I'll be in England, but I won't be going to that event, because I don't agree with the political ideology of the movement and the group that's organising and promoting that demonstration. And I think what we've got to be very careful, we've got to think about this. We've got to understand that if people that are associated with our movement, with Hearts of Oak, with Tommy Robinson, with the veterans, with UK Freedom, and whatever part of our movement it is, what I call the genuine patriotic movement that is not based on race, skin colour, it's based on love for British culture and love for Britishness, and a desire to protect that British culture and that British identity. I would personally say that any of us that are fairly high profile in this movement should stay very, very clear of that, because obviously if we're photographed or videoed or whatever with members of the National Front, then there is guilt by association, and we will be accused of being fascists and Nazis. So I'd say anyone on Team Tommy, anyone that's a Tommy Robinson supporter, that's known to be a Tommy Robinson supporter, you need to really think very, very carefully before you attend any demonstrations that are populated or organised by people who are genuine fascists, in my opinion. But at the same time, personally, I believe that those groups have a right to demonstrate, they have a right to protest, and we should fight for the right for them to protest, as long as they do it peacefully and as long as they do it without causing any trouble or any hassle to the local population. So demonstrations, we've got to do them. If you're going to go to a demonstration, may I suggest that you go to the demonstration on the 26th of September in Rochdale, which is very specific. It's lobbying to have 3 paedophiles who sexually abused children. They were imprisoned, they had their citizenship stripped from them, they should have been deported, and they're still remaining in the United Kingdom. Now that's a cause worth fighting for, that's a cause worth taking to the streets for, that's a cause worth protesting over. We want to see the Rochdale rapists deported, and we want to see it done as quickly as possible. So if you want to go to a demonstration, no point going all the way to Dover. 26th of September, get yourself to Rochdale sometime around lunchtime. All the details are going to be given out nearer the time, and let's make that a big, massive demonstration, because the grooming situation has not stopped, it's ongoing. There are still little girls getting taken and raped, racially abused, religiously abused, and sexually abused by Pakistani men, and that needs to stop. So that's it. Demonstrations, everybody should have the right to do them as long as they're peaceful. peaceful, but I certainly wouldn't support ones that are organised and supported by fascists.